the advisor yesterday. It was short time. Thank you very much. His Excellency the Ambassador Hanan Jarar will deliver her statement, and after that we will take a few rounds of questions, 3 questions, then the second round of questions, another 3 rounds of questions. Thank you very much. Just allow me to hand the microphone to Her Excellency Ambassador Hanan Jarar.
Sorry, do you mind just dropping the mic? The
Okay.
sound is not great.
Really?
Just switch the thing off.
I switch it off.
Okay, so good morning, and hopefully my voice will be loud enough so we can communicate in a better manner. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your presence here today that aims to clarify the Palestinian position with regards to the so-called peace plan announced in the White House on January the 28th by the US President Trump and in the presence of the acting Prime Minister Netanyahu. Our briefing will be centered on 3 major points so that to give you the room to questions. The first axis will be the Palestinian position with regards to this plan. Second, the expected outcomes and fallouts of the plan's announcement. And finally, the steps Palestinians are taking to face this plan and its fallouts. As for the first part, which is the Palestinian position, the plan was put forward by the US administration and was negotiated and based on the Israeli unilateral visions. So the Palestinians were and are not party to this scam. The plan promises Palestinians, who constitute 50% of the population between the Mediterranean and the Jordan River, bento stands in less than 14% of the whole area. No Jerusalem as the capital of Palestinians, no real sovereignty, no access to borders or international relations, and above all, not even recognition of their national narrative and historic injustice that befell on them. The plan legitimizes grave violations of international law, including the annexation of land by force for the sake of the settlement enterprise. The plan further denies the right of around 6 million refugees to return to their homes and puts pressure on Palestinians to halt the process of accountability against war crimes and crimes against humanity they have been victims for during the past 5 decades of subjections to a settler colonial regime. The Palestinian position is therefore clear. This is not a plan for peace. This is a plan for surrender and perpetual subjection. We will continue to seek a political solution that achieves our national inalienable rights in secure and independent state with East Jerusalem as its capital. Such political solution needs to be on international law, rules, and resolutions, and based on unbiased and equitable principles of justice and human rights. Second, the expected fallouts and outcomes of the plan. There is no way Palestinians will be coerced to enter an agreement in such unfair and unlawful terms. However, it seems from the Israeli reaction so far that Israel's approach to this plan is ensuring gains on the ground by using the US given green light. The Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu has declared that starting this coming Sunday, he will be working on annexing settlements and the Jordan Valley to become under the Israeli sovereignty. This is a very dangerous step that constitutes aggression and would lead to the end of any possibility for a future viable Palestinian state. It will further the plight and human rights abuses against Palestinians communities in the Jordan Valley living in areas near Israeli settlements. Let's move now to the third part, which is the Palestinian response. The Palestinians are acting on the local, regional, and international level to counter this plan and to preserve their inalienable national rights. Locally, our leadership is meeting in order to end the Palestinian internal strife and divide, in order to unify the front to face this critical junction in the Palestinian history. On the regional level, President Abbas will be holding meetings within League of the Arab States, the Organization of Islamic States, and the African Union to have a unified position that rejects the terms of the plan. Internationally, Palestine will also request a Human Rights Council resolution and is considering new cases to be applied in front of the ICC and the ICJ. I hope that this briefing gives you a clear idea about what's going on in Palestine right now. And I hope that I have outlined the main points. So I think that we will move to the question section, and the floor now is yours. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Nishan,
Sure.
can you just please introduce yourself and your media organization?
Sure. Good morning. I'm Nashina Mohammed from Channel Introductions.
Good
nice
morning.
to meet you, Your Excellency.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you.
Thank you for your statement. You mentioned that the plan proposed by U.S. President Donald Trump is counter to the political aspirations
Yes.
of Palestine. For the sake of clarity, could you just further explain what your political aspirations are, for the sake of clarity for our audience?
Yes.
In terms of the realization of, from what I understand, is the democratic Palestinian state.
Yes. Actually, the Trump plan is not, as they claim, a plan for peace or a vision for peace. It really a plan that lacks political or legal relevance, because what the plan proposes, or what does it state? It states that the major problem is not the colonial occupation. The major problem is the Palestinians as terrorists, which of course is not the reality and it's not the truth. The plan counters the Palestinians' not only political aspirations, it counters the Palestinians' national aspirations in having their independent and viable state, in having their East Jerusalem as the capital, in having their free borders with the international community, in having their right to preserve their economic, social, cultural rights in living in dignity and under the democratic state. So basically what the plan proposes or suggests that a Palestinian state, or not a state, a Palestinian entity, because if we look at the map that has been shown, it's an entity with no geographical connectivity, full of Israeli settlements. Settlements, by the way, is considered a war crime and a crime against humanity in international law. They deny all these and they consider it as a legal entity, which is in violent contradiction to international law. It denies the right of 6 million Palestinians scattered in refuge all over the world to return to their homelands. Also in a huge violation for international law. The Palestinian entity proposed shall have no borders. The only border shall it have only with the Israelis. So merely this is not a state or an entity, it's an open air prison, and this is what we can call it an apartheid in our terms. I'm sure that you know what apartheid means. And basically and above all, it denies the Palestinians the right to have East Jerusalem as their capital. In other words, this means that Palestinians, both Christians and Muslims, are not allowed to go to their sacred places and practice their worship activities without a permit from the Israelis. And this is also a huge violation to the right of people to worship. So basically, taking into consideration all these issues, of course, the plan is a counter for the Palestinians to have their own independent state, and actually it's against what has been agreed upon by the international community in terms of the two-state solution.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Hi, good morning. This is Kylie here from ENCA. So, Madam Ambassador, maybe just to get your input. You're saying you're going to the ICJ and ICC. So, have you been able to garner more international support so that other countries can, just be able to support you in that quest for freedom? But essentially also, just the situation in the state of Palestine, what are the current conditions? Because obviously your statement is painting a very bleak picture about the current situation on the ground. Thank you.
Thank you.
Further question?
Ambassador Jean-Jacques Cornish from Eyewitness News and Radio France. Welcome to South Africa.
Thank you.
Good to see you. My question is related to Kayas to some extent. The Security Council, the United Nations Security Council, you're going to need support from the Permanent Five, or at least not the opposition of any of them. And given that this is the currency of Donald Trump, I mean, why would you expect that you would get it past it? Why would they not veto it? Does this peace plan, that he calls it, finally negate any role that the United States might have as a peacemaker in the Middle East?
Yes, of course.
Further question here?
No, can I answer a question? I prefer. Sorry.
Two questions. Okay.
Yes. First of all, I will start with the latest question. We do not like to go to any of the UN bodies just because we would love to. We go to the UN Security Council to gain a resolution on that issue because it's the only way that is left for us. Because we do believe we are people that stick to our principles. We are people that we believe in the international community should support the Palestinians. We do not believe anymore in the role that is played by the U.S. because obviously it's not a role that a broker for peace can play. Unfortunately, the U.S. aligned themselves totally, not only with Israel, but unfortunately with the right wing in Israel, and this is really not acceptable, not only by the Palestinians, by the international community, because a broker should be honest, should stand on the same distance of the two parties. But what did the Americans do is that they put something, they called over 2 years for the Israeli negotiators to go to U.S. and to negotiate and to put their vision and to put their narrative on the expense of the Palestinians' voice and on the expense of the Palestinian narrative, so that we came to this scam, unfortunately. We know that by going to UN Security Council, we will not gain the resolution, but we have to. It's something that is obligatory for us. If this fails, again, we need to go to a more to a place that secure us the international consensus, like, for example, other mechanisms for UN, like Uniting for Peace, or other mechanisms that allow us to gain, again, the international community support, because this is what we count on. And we do believe that states should shoulder their third-part responsibility in the matter of the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. I hope this is clear enough, yes. In referring to your question, sir, from the ANC on the ICC and ICJ, this is something that is put on the plan. As I said before, the priority is given to unifying the Palestinian internal front, because this is the most important issue. Then we will move to regional backup, which is the OIC and the Arab League. And, of course, the the African Union, and we count on our partners and we count on our allies in South Africa since they are heading the African Union next month. As for the ICC and the ICJ, we will file documents, but once we are done with the other instruments like UN Security Council and other instruments. Of course, I do believe that the international community still believe in justice and still believe in the dominance of the international laws and procedures. We count on this, and we hope that the international community will back up on us on this, since it was the international will that saved up to this moment the two-state solution.
Second round of question here.
Madam Ambassador, Faisal Patel, Radio Islam. Welcome to South Africa.
Thank you.
I just want to take South Africa's reaction to this peace plan. DIRCO obviously issued a statement this week. In a statement, DIRCO says South Africa maintains to a principled position that any peace plan should not allow Palestinian statehood to devolve into an entity devoid of sovereignty, territorial contiguity, and economic viability. Obviously, these are strong words. As an ambassador in South Africa, do you think that these words should go just beyond the paper that it's written on, and South Africa or international relations must Naledi Pandor engage Donald Trump on this matter to strengthen that position to ensure that the Palestinian cause doesn't sort of fade away into the light?
One by one.
I prefer one by one so that not
One
to
by
get
one.
confused. Yes, thank you for your questions, and I'm sure that South Africa is not only a country for Palestine. We shared deeply rooted relations of friendship and a shared struggle also for a shared history of struggle to freedom. We do believe that the words of the South African Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Cooperation is not only words on paper, and we count on this. We have discussions on this. President Mahmoud Abbas is going to meet President Ramaphosa in the African Union Summit that will take place next February, on the 8th of February, and for this particular purpose. We have several meetings with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in here so that to keep them up to date on what's going on in terms of this. They were clear. We will have the support, and of course, we should not forget that South Africa is a non-member state today in the Security Council, so also we can count on them as members in the Security Council and also as friends who can do the needed lobbying in the UN buildings and places. So yes, we do believe that South Africa is not only a normal country, it's an ally, it's a friend, and we shared so many historical moments with them, and yes, this is the case with South Africa.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ms. Ibrahim, Shannon.
Thank you, Ambassador. I'm
Thank you.
Shannon Ibrahim, Group Foreign Editor from Independent Media.
Yes.
I wanted to ask you two questions. The first one is, does the Palestinian Authority and the Palestinian people not feel let down by their Arab brothers in the region? And do you really think you're going to see much success coming out of the OIC or the Arab states? I'm thinking specifically of the fact that Egypt basically said that there should be a careful and thorough examination of this plan. Saudi Arabia said nothing against it. The UAE said it was a good starting point. But we can all see that this is a plan that takes away Palestinian political rights and their land. It's generally seen around the world as a massive land grab from the Palestinians. Why have the Arab countries not come out in support of Palestinian rights and the cause? And do you really think that you can garner support from the Arab world? And secondly, what would you like to see, number one, the South African government doing tangibly to provide support to the Palestinians? And what would you like to see the South African people do in terms of civil society support to your cause? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Shannon. Well, first of all, in terms of the relationship with the Arab world, the Palestinian position in this issue is clear. We will move on the regional level by going to the Arab League and by going to the OIC. Of course, we the most important part in this issue is the Palestinians themselves. No one, if we said no to such a plan, no one will enforce us to say yes. If we said this plan is a great aggression and violation for the inalienable rights of the Palestinian people, no one would say the opposite. Neither Arab countries, neither any country, other country in the international community, of course, but US and the right wing in Israel, let's say. So basically what matters here is the opinion of Palestinians and the position of the Palestinians themselves. We will go to our Arab brothers, we will go to the Arab League, and we will go to the OIC, and we will seek their help and we will seek their support. And I'm sure that the statements will be up to the level on supporting the state of Palestine in our endeavor. This is what we count on, and this is what we always said. We are the people of the Palestinian cause. No one will coerce us to do something that we do not want, because it's our people that are living in Palestine, and it's our people who decide, and it's the Palestinian leadership who decide what to do. The international support is very much important. The Arab support is very much important and needed, and we count on it, and hopefully we will gain it in this frame. As for South Africa in here, of course, we do rely on South Africa, and we discussed this several times with the ANC, with the government, with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, DERCO, and with other parts. All the vibes are very positive in terms of when they're heading the African Union or in the UN Security Council. So basically, we really expect tangible efforts on supporting the Palestinian cause in this historic and dangerous junction. As for the South African civil society and other movements of support and solidarity, of course we count on them. I mean, this country is one of the most active countries in terms of civil society organizations and solidarity movement. We count on them, we salute them, and we do believe that they can give a great push to the Palestinians in their cause right now.
Any more questions? Nirshan, just give me the right to have the people behind you, then I'll come back to you.
Okay.
This is the last round of questions. 3 questions, last 3 questions. Lady here, ladies first, please.
Good morning. My name is Mariam Kwada, and I'm from Salamia. I'd like to know, what do you think is the ultimate goal of this peace plan as far as the people of Palestine is concerned?
The ultimate goal for the Palestinians, or for the Israelis, of course, because Palestinians has nothing to do with it. Actually, usually when a plan is issued or when a plan is negotiated on, there are 2 parties who come to negotiate and who come and sit together and who issue a plan. This plan was issued without even consulting the Palestinian side. It was given remarks by the Trump administration since 2017. 2017, when Trump announces that Jerusalem is undivided and it is the eternal capital of Israel, denying all the international laws and resolutions on this regard, and depriving Palestinians of their national right in having their own capital and in having their own freedom in practicing their religious practices in Jerusalem. Because Jerusalem for Palestinians is not only a city, it's not only a matter of geography, it's not only a piece of land, it's the heart of their national consciousness. This is what Jerusalem is. So it's not a matter of just saying it is undivided under the Israeli sovereignty. No one would listen to this, and no one believes this, because Palestinians are living there. It's their lives, it's their human aspiration and liberty and democracy.
My brother over there, yes?
Yes.
From Salamia. Previously, there has been sentiments affecting Palestinians themselves with regards to initiatives like the Oslo Accords. Do you think that this time around the common Palestinians will rally behind each other and unite for the common goal? And are you calling for the South African government to downgrade its relations with Israel?
It's already taken. No, the downgrade is already happening. Yani we wouldn't call South Africa or any other country to do but what comes in their interests, of course, and in our interests. So basically we talk with the governments on this regard to find things of mutual interest to benefit the Palestinian cause. Because after all, every country has its own interest to watch. It's true that we are friends, but also we understand our limits. This is something. Of course, for the Palestinians, it's important to unify themselves. Maybe one advantages of this plan is, again, that it put the Palestinians again on the same page. Our leadership is, the Palestinian factions from every walk of life now are gathering together since the announcement of the plan. They are sitting on the same table in West Bank and Gaza, and they're preparing for the visit of President Mahmoud Abbas to Gaza, which didn't happen since 7 years. Yes, one advantage of this plan is that it brings the Palestinians again together, because this time is crucial. We are facing one enemy, an enemy that really wants, or a plan that really wants to deny Palestinians of their national rights, of their narrative, of their basic rights to live as human beings in dignity. It really aims to put them into Bantustans, as the apartheid regime did, denying any access to them with any part of the international community. Yes, fortunately, the Palestinians are united again, and hopefully this will continue so that we can face this plan unified.
Last question, Marishan, please.
Sorry. Yes, my last question, Your Excellency, is I wish to see clarity again among South Africans when we talk about, from my target audience, when we talk about peaceful resolution between Israel and Palestine. There is no clarity in terms of whether the government is committed to a two-state solution or one-state solution. When you mentioned the two-state solution, are you referring to West Bank, Gaza, and East Jerusalem according to your 1967 borders? Is your government firm on its position? Is there hope? I mean, is it alive in Palestine in terms of there being buy-in? Is it alive? No. And I suppose the question from Ponti was about the unity amongst Palestinians when it comes to support for the two-state solution. So is there clarity, and do you recognize the Jewish state of Israel according to the proposed two-state solution?
Yes. Well, as for the two-state solution, it's the only viable solution up to now that gains the consensus of the international community. That's why we still abide by. That's why we still did not renounce the Oslo Accord, because it's the only agreement that's still on the table now. The one-state solution was long time ago on the table. Before the Oslo Accord, the Palestinian Liberation Organization was about to go to ask for a one-state solution. But it was the Israelis at that time who refused, because they know that demographically the Palestinians will be above them, and they knew what they are doing. That's why the international community at that time in 1991 proposed a two-state solution, and we accepted the two-state solution. We abandoned 78% of the mandatory Palestine for the sake of getting peace at that time. Now, after 25 years of the Oslo Accord, we are left with only the two-state solution, because it's the only solution that has been agreed upon and supported by the international community. Unfortunately, this plan again might put us on the road of going again to the one-state solution. Our options are open, and our leadership is an ad hoc meeting since the announcement of the plan. As I said, our options are open, and we will see what the leadership might take a decision in this regard. But also, we do believe that one-state solution is still an option if the international community supported this option. Because after all, we can't go to an option that is not supported by the international community. And one-state solution is even better for Palestinians, because if we are going into a democratic state, one man, one vote, then this, after a couple of years, it will be announced as an apartheid state.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sorry, can I get in one more question, please?
Okay, last question.
Ma'am, you mentioned earlier that you want to have the friendship of the Arab states. Currently, the Arab states at the moment is so fragmented. There's so much other issues that's sort of consuming them currently. And some of these Arab states have become very cozy with Israel. They're going to be sitting now on the fence, whether it's for Palestine or whether their allegiance lies with Israel. Is there anybody specifically that Palestine will be approaching or trying to garner support from?
You mean from
The Arab states. Your Arab friends, as
Yes.
you mentioned earlier.
Well, it's up to the Arab states states if they are going to support Palestine or not. It's not only a matter of supporting Palestine. It's a matter of supporting justice. It's a matter of supporting international laws and regulations. It's a matter of supporting instruments of international community. After all, there are so much that brings us as an Arab together rather than things that divide us. It's the choice of governments to choose whatever they want, but still we have so much in common that when it comes to the crunch, we will find and we will secure the needed support from the Arab countries. This is something that we are sure of.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for everyone. Thank you for your presence today.